ミスクリックしたことあります？オンラインで言って。
ミスクリックありますよね。それ人間だからあります。
わかんない。人間なのかってたまに疑問に思いますよ。It's the Mahjong Den YouTube channel.
Welcome to Prost, where we are Mahjong pros roasting. Are we roasting our fans? Is our guest roasting us? Come along with Jen and me as we discover and rediscover how much we can still learn about this game.
At each episode, we feature one streamer and go over their hands and see what they could have done better, maybe, or what they did great. Sometimes you'll see both in the same hand. This episode, our featured streamer is once again Tips and Tricks. You know him as the famous English commentator of Mahjong for many years now. He also has his Twitch channel at twitch.com/tipsandtricks, where he streams Mahjong once a week. And also, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe right now before we get any further.
And we introduced him in detail in the first week, but let me quickly reintroduce Hisato. He's won the Phoenix Cup 3 times already, compared to mine and Jen's combined total of 0. Even though we joined in the same exact year. He's also
if you ever needed proof that Mahjong is a skill game, joined at the same time and astronomically different results.
Our combined talents are still a little bit short. Yes, he's won many titles from Champions League to Grand Prix Max. And he also holds the title in Garth's house for a player Garth should most try to emulate. Please welcome back to the show my wife's favorite Mahjong player, Hisato Sasaki.
そうなんだ。初めて知ったよ。
なんか毎日のようになんで久とみたいなマージョン打たないのって言われてるって。
結構言われてますよ。また勝ってる時はなんで久となんで久との真似しないのっていつも。
And that's what we're going to try and do right here. We're going to try and emulate and learn from our favorite pro, Hisato Sasaki. So let's start our hand. From Tips and Tricks once again. Here we go. We have a starting hand here. We are in East 4, and we are the dealer. The Dora is the 8 crack, and we have 1 red Dora in our hand, as well as a pair of guest wins. How does this hand look? What are we going to do as dealer?
手なりでダブトンですね。トンはダブトンだからできれば重ねたいけど、手なりで横に伸ばすようにキーフになればいいなっていうイメージですね。あとは E1 と何のシャンポンでリーチっていうのが大体なんかこう普通かな、イメージとしては。
Alright, yeah, we love those edge tile and honor tile triple weights. Start out with just an edge tile, so that goes pretty much with our... I do want to kind of ask about this. It seems like we're always taught to discard the Suji tile, if it's like an 8 or a 9. But I think lately, especially overseas, they've been keeping it if it's an 8, maybe discarding the 9s. We were kind of taught to keep the 1 bam in this case and discard the 8 dot, I think. Would you say that's correct, Garth?
I can certainly see the reason, yeah. I remember a discussion about this with somebody and Moriyama, Kaicho Moriyama. And he said, kind of a safer play is to throw Iso, but the stronger play is to keep both 5 and 8 of dots. So I would be interested to see what Hisato thinks of this situation too, yeah.
5と8を両方持っておくと、4と6と7を引いたときに両面を逃さないからっていうことですね。だから8を残すのも当然、最近はなんかセオリーになってきてるけど、バランスを引くと13556ってなって想像の形が手厚くなるんで、基本は多分8を切るのはパーピン切りが普通な気がしますね。
Okay.
パーピンかイーソーかってところですね、第一打は。パーピンがなんかセオリーな感じはしますね。
So, but yeah, not a bad discard. Just maybe we have different theories.
Another way of thinking. And there comes the 6 anyway.
So we got the 6. Did not pull in this time. How about here? This is, I think, an interesting decision. It's not a terribly difficult decision, but there's just a lot of options that you can consider here.
まっすぐは飛んでしょうね。やっぱ飛んでいいんじゃないですか、ここは。チート率もあるし。
Oh,
セブンペアーズ。
7 pairs, exactly. All right.
ダブルトーンがあってても、しかも、so even though the guy across has pawned Q1, you would still throw tone in that situation?
Q はポンされてて、ちょっとね、自敗も切りづらいけど、抱えれば抱えるほど切りづらくなってくるから、
Okay.
こういう時は自分の手優先に先にトン切っていいかなと僕は思いますね。
Oh, and wow, the player across from us looks like a half flush. Started with the honor tiles, but still pretty much we can decide they're going for a flush at this point, right? Luckily we already discarded the 4 crack. Does that change how we think about East this turn?
もう早く切んなきゃいけないじゃないですか。もう切るなら今しかないよね、もう。
Okay. So if you don't discard it this time, you got to keep it. You're stuck with it.
やっぱ本一濃厚だもんね。
So here we have 2 kind of open-ended weights. We have the kind of the 2 shabo, one of which was come out, and we could surmise that perhaps some of our 1 manzu are across the way. So we have a couple decisions here about how we think we're going to win this hand. Is there a situation that we might want to chi in this hand, or are we still thinking we're going to try to push to win this hand as a closed hand right now?
3色も不確定だし、単ヤはちょっと遠いから泣かないんですけど、やっぱ4万が痛いじゃない。チート率にもうだから5統一になってるかもしれない。本当だったらトン打ってたらね。だから可能性がちょっと狭まっちゃってるんですけど、こっから泣くとやっぱ何1万円だし、イーマンも果たして相手も統一かもしれないし、すごく上がりの可能性がきついから、仕掛けるのは大変かなと思いますね。3色見えるけど、自力で1個持ってきたら、例えば数ピン持ってきた後に数層チーするとかは分かるけど、不確定すぎるからちょっと今は泣けないかなっていう感じがしますね。
なるほど。OK。
ここからでもチート1の可能性はある。復活、チート1になる可能性、もう一回なる可能性もあるから、まだ泣かないと思います。
When I look at a hand like this, and I think if I draw the 4 dot or the 4 bam, it is Sanshoku, but with the player across using all of the cracks and one of the souths gone already, is there a chance they would like just discard the south pairs if you got one of the nakabukure, the 4, 5, 5, 6 shapes?
はい、今言ってた中膨れっていうのは非常にいいことで、ここに数ピン持ってきたとしますね。数ピン持ってきたら、ウースを切っとくと、インシャンテンにもなるし、ピンズの横伸びが受け入れが広いですね。サブロピンとスッチーピンと受け入れられるから、そうなったら何のトイと同時いいんじゃないですか。インシャンテンはインシャンテンで構えるんですよ。ウースを切って、スッチーソーとイーマンとナンのシャンポンのインシャンテンに構えといて、で、ピンズの横に伸びてきたら、ナンと切って、ピンフを目指す。ピンフもしかしたら3色になるかもしれないしね。
Okay, so first you would discard the 5 and then wait until you get more things, so.
そう。インシャンテンには構える。
Okay. Got it. That's something I need to get changed. Alright, so things are moving along, and right here we get a chance to call the 4 bam. And Sato just said, don't do that. But he does that.
And the 5.
You think that he should discard something besides the 5 if you choose?
I mean, the 5 of dots, he's probably not going to do the 5 of dots. It's probably dangerous. And there's a possibility that depending on what Sozu he gets, you could get an open-ended weight in the Sozu if he gets another thing there. I mean, certainly for this draw, the 5 of dots is just as dangerous as the 5 of bamboos. I feel like I would get rid of the 5 of dots first. Also, it draws a little bit less attention if that ends up being what he's waiting for is the 4-7. I don't know. I think I would hold the 5 of bamboos here and throw the 5 of dots. But all right.
ミスクリックしたっていうことにしよ
はい。 ウーピングでいいんじゃないですか。だって4でしか3色にならないんだから、イーマンとナンのシャンポンがきついんで、ソーズの横伸ばして、スーソとかローソを引いたら、なんで統一落としてって、で、3色赤赤みたいな形にするのがベストかなと思うんで、ウーピン切りはいいと思います。
Okay, so you should keep the 5 bam. その嘘を持っておきましょうっていう。
そう。
もしかして
だってもうこれ4、5の3色しか上がり目ないじゃないですか。役がね。単葉じゃないんで。だからウーピンが機能しないからね。
Okay.
ウーピン切りでいいと思いますよ。
Okay, great. I think, yeah, that's an important point. Because you just see, like, okay, the set is finished, so I'll just get rid of the extra from the set, you know? I think that's a very common way to think.
So you've had gut shot here.
Yeah, so if you had kept the 5, it would have been exactly a gut shot. So 嘘を取っといたら、もう少し上がれそうだったかもしれない。Oh, and you would have had also an option for the 5, 6, 7.
Ooh, wow.
でもあれだね、シャーチャの手もなんか切ってくる内容を見てると、ソーズバンバン切ってるから、なんか無理やり泣いたっぽくも見えますね。相
Oh.
当遠く見えるね。
Mm.
まとまった手とはね、見えないから、パーソーだとかローソーだとか、ピンズ両面切ってきたりみたいな。これあれだね、つむぎかとかわかんないのかな。
そう、
出てきた
見てないといけない。
ああ、見てないといけないんだね。
そう。
だからまあ、本質というか薬杯が濃厚なんだろうな、多分。で、強引にいってるから、その後無理やり本質に向かったかもしれないなって感じはしますよね。トイメの手。
Okay. So he gets the wrong side. He gets the wrong side and discards it, but discarding the 7 bam would mean K10, so at least the Tenpai shape. Should you take that?
まあ、親だから普通は形式テンパイ取っときますかね。取っといて、で、なんかリーチが入りましたってごちゃごちゃやってる間に単用になるかもしれないから、一回テンパイ取っときましょうか。CP は持っといてね。
But that means maybe it would be really hard to chi the 4 dot. Because you won't be able to discard the 7 dot if your left player does decide to discard it. So
泣けなくなっちゃうけど無理やり泣いて、で、まあ、567ってピンズ持ってるから数ピンチして別のやつ切って、で、上がる形にはできますよね。だから数ピンチすることはできるよ、一応ね。
Okay, yeah.
繰り返しなければいいんだから。
Yeah, that's true. And
おう、3色で上がってたかもしれない。
the 5, 6, 7. そうだね、ゴロチの方は上がれたかも。
どうだ
Now the hand's expensive. これでまあ打点だけはできました。
あ、本当だ。
And since we're further along in the hand, I think we can speed it up a little bit.
All right, sounds good. Yes.
And now we have reach.
Oh, the supine. Come on. I'll watch the supine.
So that's the 4 dot he needs, and there's a reach. But we've just gone through so much in this hand. Are we just fold, or do we just still try and take Tenpai or only if we can do it safely, or
スピンは今宣言杯だ、リーチ宣言杯で上茶から出る可能性がありますね、現物だから。それが出たら泣いてまっすぐ行っていいんじゃないですか。点数が高くなったからね。ランがシンドラになったし、打点十分だし。でもそうならなかったら、ちょっと戦えなそうじゃないですか。CP も振り手で役もなければ。まあ一回自分で、まあ、ここでスピン出なかったら、ちょっと考えます。
Okay. Does it come out?
Shaw, but on
No, it's the Sanzo.
How good is it?
Yeah, as long as we have safe tiles, it's not an issue. The problem is if we run out of safe tiles.
Oh, that's dangerous.
あ、これ危ないね。危ない。うん。
Okay, this is a misclick. いや、このポンは間違えて押したみたいなので、それはちょっと批判はしないんだけど、
あ、ミスクリック。
その、
うん
一つ前の、そのローピンの方は、ローピンは今出たからローピンを切ったんだけど、 白となんかそれ。
白も安全パイだね。2枚切れだからね。
うん
ほとんど安全そうだから、白ぐらい行くんじゃないですか。
うん
ただもうウーマンが危ないなと思ったら、当然ローピン切ってもやめちゃう手はありますよ。
Okay.
前に行かないと決めたらね、もう安全な道を行く方がいいから。
Okay. And you can keep the white one for later. But that was a misclick, so I think that would have been probably the safe tiles. And I think, yeah, that's basically it for the hand. It ends in a ryukyoku. そうですね。まあその今まあたまにありますもんね。オンラインでやってると、あ、押しちゃったって。それ佐藤さんありますか？ミスクリックしたことあります？オンラインで言って。
ミスクリックありますよね。その人間だからあります。
わかんない。人間なのかってたまに疑問に思いますよ。
基本的に神様だよね。まあ、
いやいやそんなことはないよ。あるある。あります。
お家の神様。
I think that people like to hear that because, like, when you see somebody who with such great results and who always plays amazing on M League, you kind of doubt if maybe I just misclick because I'm never going to be that good, or so I think it's good for people to hear.
Yeah, maybe the reason I don't have great results is because I make mistakes, unlike these other people who never ever make mistakes. It's nice to hear that other people make mistakes too. Yeah.
だけどほら、M リーグだってね、M リーグはチョンボもあるじゃない。たまにだけどね。
そうだね。
だからまあ、人間だからミスはありますってことです。
ミスあり得る。
I think that's an important thing to tell everybody. Yeah, I chumbled Garth and I both chumbled in the past week. ガースは脳天リーチして。
脳天リーチしたんだろう。
No ten reach, but I did no ten reach in last week's League Sen, 2回戦 no ten reach, and then 4回戦ダントツトップの人が全く同じフリーテンリーチやってくれた。でちょっと
フリーテンリーチ、ノーテンリーチ。
ノーテンリーチ、ノーテンリーチ、そうだ、ノーテンリーチ、全く同じだった。すごいびっくり。
私はガリハイをなんか切りそうになって多分タク触っちゃったのにいつも言っちゃった。
ああ、そうなんだ。
もったいない本当に。Okay, and that was our hand. Thank you so much, Tips and Tricks, for letting us roast you. I hope we're not too harsh.
Yes, it's all in love. In love.
Tips and Tricks is a great player, and he has amazing analysis of his own hands while he's playing, so I definitely recommend watching him. And also always ready to be a study buddy for me, and also joins in the practice sessions that Garth and I have sometimes online. Practiced A rolls with us before. So great player, and yeah, definitely go give him a watch.
Indeed. If you would like to follow us elsewhere besides here, I am Garth E. That's with 3 E's on Twitter, which is now X. And Jen is Mahjong Jen on X, which was Twitter.
And everything else, Instagram, TikTok.
Oh, Instagram, yes.
Twitch. Garth used to stream on Twitch. I still stream on Twitch.
I might do it again. Yes. And check out Hisato's channel. Also, he and Taki do a show.
Yeah, it's called Taki Hisa Mahjong Labo on Nico Nico. And I know most of you have Nico Nico because you all use Naga. And Naga you have to have a Nico Nico account for. So hop on over there.
All right, and that's it for today's show. Thanks to Hisato for spending his vacation time from Pro League to join us on Prost. He has no regular season games this year because he is the defending Phoenix champion. And thanks to you all for watching us, and be sure to join Jen and me again on the next episode of Prost on our journey to get enough advice to someday finally play like a pro.
Thank you. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
This is it.
Bye bye.
Game over.